Hi and welcome to Crab Recap. Today I will tell you about a movie called Weird Science. The movie begins in a school gym full of young women training in gymnastics. On the doorway stands two unpopular teens named Wyatt and Gary, who are staring at the girls while fantasizing about partying with them and being popular. They were so lost in their imagination that they didn't notice two jocks sneaking behind them before the jocks pull down their pants and shout to get the girls' attention, embarrassing Gary and Wyatt. At Wyatt's house, Gary is staying over because Wyatt's parents are away for the weekend. While watching a Frankenstein movie, Gary has an idea to create a girl of their own, just like Frankenstein created his monster. Wyatt thought they'd need to dig up women's corpses for the project, but Gary says they can just run a simulation on Wyatt's computer to create the girl from scratch. Wyatt finally goes along with Gary's scheme and uses many simulations and even hacking into a more powerful computer system to create their ideal girl. They feed the computer information from magazines and hook up some cables to a Barbie doll. When they hit enter, the computer turns chaotic, causing many weird things to happen throughout the house and even around town. It won't shut off despite the boys' best efforts. Eventually, the chaos stops, but Wyatt's bathroom door starts to expand before shattering into pieces. Behind the red-lit fog emerges a beautiful and sexy woman with gorgeous curly hair. At first, the boys can't believe their plan worked, but they eventually get dressed to go for a night out with their newly made woman. The woman drives them in a pink Cadillac. Wyatt wonders if she had stolen the car, but she said that she can do and get whatever she wants, such as making this car appear out of thin air and also modifying the boys' suits earlier. She wants them to name her, so Gary proposes the name Lisa after a girl that rejected him some time ago. Lisa and the boys arrive at a dive bar full of adults, causing the boys to chicken out. After Lisa produces fake IDs for them and some stern persuasion, they agree to mingle there. Gary sits in a booth next to Lisa, surrounded by grown men who are glaring at him. He tries to act funny, but one of the men pours Gary some alcohol and threatens him to drink it. After some time, Wyatt joins the table and now Gary is properly drunk. Gary acts more loose and friendly with the older men and they also treat the boys like friends. Once Gary stumbles over the table, the group disperses and Lisa says the party is over. They are driven back home by Wyatt, whose driving is sloppy since he doesn't know how to drive. At home, Wyatt is greeted by his strict and annoying brother named Chet. Chet threatens to tell their parents about Wyatt coming home late, but Wyatt manages to bribe him by promising $175 by tomorrow morning. Once he brings the still drunk Gary inside, he goes to his room's balcony in search of Lisa, who surprised him from behind. They start kissing, with Lisa patiently giving him tips on how to kiss better. They eventually insinuate that they're going to make love. The boys wake up in the morning to a perfectly clean bedroom and no Lisa, so they think she and everything that happened last night was just a dream. However, Wyatt wearing Lisa's panties and her calling them downstairs for breakfast proves that it was real. When Chet comes to the kitchen to taunt Wyatt, Lisa hides and silently mocks Chet. After noticing that Wyatt is wearing a woman's panties, he threatens to tell their dad about Wyatt cross-dressing, prompting Wyatt to bribe him once more. Later, the boys go to the mall to shop for some perfume. When they sit on the ground floor, right above them are the jocks from earlier, Ian and Max. The jocks get a wicked plan to dump their bright red drink right onto Wyatt and Gary. This leads their girlfriends, Deb and Hilly, to become upset and think about breaking up with the jocks. However, after some half-hearted apologies, they return to their boyfriends. On the escalator down, Max and Ian spots Lisa, who smiles at her. Captivated, they chase her down until they wind up in front of the mall's entrance. After some awkward introduction, Lisa says that she's waiting for her ride, and right then, Gary sloppily drives a Porsche to the entrance. He gets out and taunts the jocks by acting like Lisa's macho lover. Before they ride away, Lisa informs the jocks that they'll be hosting a party at Wyatt's house tonight and tells them to come and invite others. Back at Wyatt's house, he complains about Lisa's party idea because he's afraid of getting in trouble with Chet and his parents, but Lisa tells him to loosen up. After doing some prep, she heads over to Gary's house to pick him up. His parents don't agree with him partying, so Lisa argues with them and goes so far as aiming a gun at Gary's father to stop him from calling the police. On their ride to Wyatt's, Lisa calms Gary down and shows him that the gun is actually just a squirt toy. The preparations are now done, and it turns out that a lot of teens have come to enjoy the party. Even the jocks and their girlfriends are there. Wyatt's house is full full and turns quite chaotic. Out of shock and nervousness, the boys are hiding away in the bathroom before Deb and Hilly knock on the bathroom door. After the girls find out that it's their party, the boys let them inside the bathroom and introduce themselves, saying that the gorgeous Lisa is with them. While giving the girls some privacy, Wyatt and Gary agree to take a shot at wooing them before returning to Lisa so they don't hurt her feelings. Downstairs, Max and Ian finally find Lisa in the crowd. They try to seduce them, but Lisa says that she can't because she belongs to Gary and Wyatt and she does whatever they say. So, the jocks apologize to the boys for dumping the drink earlier in an attempt to let them borrow Lisa. The boys refuse, but after Max and Ian say they'll trade Lisa for their girlfriends, Gary has a different idea. The four of them come to Wyatt's room to recreate the Lisa experiment. This is noticed by Lisa once the weird stuff starts to happen around the house again. After the weird stuff stops, they boys thought that their experiment has succeeded again, but the woman that emerges from the bathroom turns out to be a disappointed Lisa. She reminds them that they forgot to hook up the Barbie doll, and instead of a woman, they had created a giant nuclear missile that shoots up through Wyatt's entire house. Before the fiasco happened, Wyatt's grandparents were having dinner when they decided to stop by the house to check on Wyatt. They arrive right after the missile emerges, and they're shocked to see the ongoing party. Lisa confronts them for shooting the guests, but they argued that they have a right, as it is their daughter's house. Then, Lisa comes back to Wyatt's room to let him know that his grandparents are downstairs. She takes the boys to the now blue kitchen before revealing that Wyatt's grandparents are in the pantry, stuck in a cheerful stance. After Gary takes away his shocked friend, Lisa thinks that the boys need a challenge to raise their self-confidence and bravery. So, she creates a scary motorcycle gang that breaks into Wyatt's house with their bikes and drives around in a craze. The two bikers are followed by a man brandishing a shotgun and a chained woman. Seeing the chaos, Gary and Wyatt decide to hide while their guests are cowering in fear of the biker gang. Lisa opens the door to the closet the boys are hiding in to urge them to get rid of the biker gang. They keep refusing until eventually, one of the bikers rip through the wall to forcibly take Wyatt out, who is followed by Gary. The shotgun man asks if this is their party, and after the boys say yes, he wonders out loud how two losers like them can have such a party. He lists off the embarrassing things about the boys, and unfortunately, the crowd starts laughing at them. Only when the bikers hold Deb and Hilly hostage did the boys gather their courage to stand their ground against the bikers. Wyatt tells them to let the girls go, while Gary orders them to leave. The man tries to attack them with his shotgun, but Gary catches it and aims a revolver at the shotgun man to prove that he's being serious. After a short pause, the bikers release the girls before backing away and leaving the house in a surprisingly polite manner. Now that the party and the danger is over, Wyatt is sitting alone in the middle of his empty living room. Hilly approaches him and asks if he'd like to kiss her, to Wyatt's pleasant surprise. Meanwhile, in a different room, Deb asks Gary whether he loves Lisa. He says he does, but in a sisterly way, and that he'd build Lisa just like Deb if he'd met her before they did the experiment. This prompts Deb to kiss him. It's now morning and Chet returns home from his hunting trip to a ruined house. He goes to Wyatt's room and threatens Gary to tell him where Wyatt is using his shotgun. When Chet finds Wyatt in bed with Hilly, he demands an explanation about the house's condition, but Wyatt can only beg him to let Lisa explain the situation. In the kitchen, Lisa finally confronts Chet, who's acting like a douchebag. She says she wants to talk to Chet alone, so she sends the boys to escort the girls home in their cool cars. Now left alone, Lisa demands Chet to treat his brother and Gary with respect and dignity, and also to keep everything that happened that weekend a secret. When Chet refuses, Lisa turns him into a toad-like monster, and he eventually agrees to her terms. Meanwhile, the boys are getting their happy endings as Deb and Hilly both accept them for who they are and give them kisses. They return home at the same time, but they agree that they need to tell Lisa about their new girlfriends because they don't want to hurt her. After being surprised and disgusted by Chet, who uncharacteristically says that he loves Wyatt, the boys find Lisa getting ready in Wyatt's room. Lisa already figured out that they now have girlfriends, and she says that it's all she ever wanted for them, despite her feeling being hurt. She gives the boys a parting kiss before she enters Wyatt's bathroom and disappears in a cloud of smoke. Thankfully, just in time with Wyatt's parents' arrival, the house is returned to normal, and Chet is also back to his old appearance. Wyatt greets his parents with Gary, and they lie about not doing crazy stuff over the weekend. The movie ends with a gym class full of boys where Lisa turns out to be their instructor, still alive despite her goodbye. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. Write your opinion about the movie in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss new videos.